What if I told you that the Ninja Turtle artist, Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, Raphael, and the entire Renaissance, as we know it, were funded by one single family? A family that started as middle class wool merchants became the most powerful bankers in Europe and ruled the city from the shadows like puppet masters. They were the originals. They were the Medici. And for the next 7 minutes, we are going to break down how they pulled it off. So, our story starts in 15th century Florence. It's a bustling, competitive, and frankly a pretty cutthroat city state. This isn't a kingdom with a king, it's a republic run by powerful guilds and rival families. And into this chaos steps Giovanni de Medici. He's the man who laid the foundation. He wasn't a warrior or a politician, he was a banker, and he had one brilliant idea to become the official banker for the Catholic Church. Now you can imagine how that worked out. The papacy was the biggest, wealthiest organization in Europe. Handling their money gave the Medici Bank immense capital and prestige. But Giovanni was cautious. He played by the rules and kept a low profile. His son, however, was a different story. This is Cosimo de Medicci, often called Cosimo the Elder. And this man was a political genius. When his rivals, the Albizzi family, saw the Medici's growing influence, they had him arrested and exiled. They thought they'd won. But Cosimo had spent years using the family fortune to make friends and buy loyalty all over the city. A year after his exile, his supporters took control of the government, and Cosimo was welcomed back as hero. He learned a valuable lesson: never hold a public office yourself. It makes you a target. Instead, he ruled from behind the scenes. He made sure all the key government positions were filled by people who owed him a favor. He was the ultimate puppet master, controlling Florence without ever being a prince. But the Medici's true golden age came under Cosimo's grandson Lorenzo. History doesn't call him Lorenzo the politician or Lorenzo the banker. It calls him Lorenzo the Magnificent. If you want to dive deeper, you should watch the show Medicci the Magnificent. Anyhow, Lorenzo was the ultimate patron of the arts. He saw art not just as beautiful, but as projection of power and prestige. He sponsored a young sculptor named Michelangelo, treating him like a son. He commissioned works for Botticelli and a brilliant inventor and artist, as you know him, Leonardo da Vinci. He essentially turned Florence into the world's first open-air art museum. All that beauty you see, that was Medici money and Medici influence. But not everyone was a fan. Their rivals, the Pazzi family, orchestrated a plot to assassinate Lorenzo and his brother during Mass in Duomo itself. But they only managed to kill his brother Giuliano. But Lorenzo fought his way out. The people of Florence, loyal to the Medici, were so enraged they hunted down the conspirators and hung them from the palace windows. The Pazzi plot backfired, cementing Lorenzo's power for good. So, after ruling from the shadows and funding the Renaissance, what was next? Formal power. The Medicis leveled up. They produced not one, but two popes, Leo X and Clement VII. They even married into French royal family, with Catherine de Medici becoming the formidable Queen of France. They had finally made it. They were no longer just bankers. They were royalty and religious leaders. But as with all great dynasties, it couldn't last forever. Later generations lacked the cunning of Cosimo or the charisma of Lorenzo. Their bank eventually failed, their political power faded, and by the 18th century, the Medici line died out. So, what is their legacy? It's everywhere. The very idea of modern banking owes a debt to them. The museums of Florence are filled with the masterpieces they paid for. They showed the world that wealth could be translated into cultural and political power. They used soft power, art, culture, and influence to achieve what armies often couldn't. They weren't saints, They were ruthless, ambitious, and hungry for power. But without their ambition, our world would look and feel a lot less beautiful. So, what do you think? Were the Medici enlightened patrons or the corrupt godfathers? Let me know in the comments. And if you liked the video, kindly hit the like button and subscribe the channel for more interesting videos. Thank you.